And we are live. Welcome, everybody. This is the Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff YouTube channel. And this live stream, specifically every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, is the Doctor's Orders. We are on episode 79 in a row. And this show is all about showing you guys what's going on with this company, the people, the products, the plans, and just overall the community that's surrounding this company. And you get to know where Nick's head is at, where Jill is at, where the company's at. And it can be random and not about beards, or it can be beard related. And it's likely going to take 37 twists and turns. Hopefully you guys are here for that. We will be on for almost exactly an hour today. So whether you're watching live, he literally has notes. Whether you're watching live or in the future, if you could do all the YouTube stuff, that would be appreciated. The thumbs up, the share. If you guys want to get involved in the chat, this is a full-fledged YouTube channel, and we love to get the word out there. So any interactions you guys have is an amazing, amazing thing. And my name is Dan. I am the co-host of this show, and I get to drive the ship to highlight these great people and the things that are going on behind them. And one of the people who is going to have some cool, like, interesting insight for us today and a bunch of random things. But if you guys see, like, Meta went down today, AT&T went down last week, you got a man that's kind of a fiber behind the scenes keeping a lot of this together. And I'm not just talking about your beard. I'm not just talking about, and man, I had like an experience today. I was using the face wash, and I was genuinely just like at relief that I have such a good product for my face for the first time in my life. Like, I never felt so good about a product for my face as a man. And I was using it. I was like, it's like a sense of, it's like a safety net for me. It's like a sense of relief.
As exciting as it is, like, it really shouldn't. Like, we've been abused for so long that something like this is as exciting as it is just a sign that we've been very much mistreated, for a lot of years.
Yep.
In the face product category.
Exactly. So, for a formal introduction, the man keeping the fiber of the online world together to the best of his human abilities. The man, I got another thing there. The man that's keeping your beard together to the best of his abilities. And I will say, so I rode down to a beard competition this weekend. I saw Jill asking Ken about it. I rode down with my buddy Jason and my buddy Nick, aka Otto, who is usually in the chat and hanging out. And I got to telling stories. Shocker. And I told them a story about us, and I prefaced it with, like, hey, you guys know, hey, Jason's in the chat right now. I said, if you preface it with, you know how I start the show and I say this is the doctor of time and space, and it's just kind of like a fun, like, silly name. They're like, yeah. And I said, no, I actually believe it. Like, I actually think Nick is. And I told the traffic cone light story, the barrel, and went through the whole thing. So yeah, Jason isn't right here. He said, get my trips and routines ready. Hey man, appreciate you, Jason. So he got to hear the story, and Jill's sister lives in Dayton. Nice. And okay. I got two quick stories. I told them last night, but they are worth it here because you haven't heard them yet.
No.
First one, Dayton. I'm a judge for a beard competition, and I'm sitting, I apologize if you guys heard this, but it's so worth it. I'm sitting up on the stage, and they're getting ready to announce the judges, and John D was there, and he was one of them that participated in what I'm about to say, I believe. But they give the mic to the girl next to me, and she goes, I don't like to talk on the mic, and handed it back. And so it, like, threw me off completely because I was ready for just like my normal, like, hi, I'm Dan type thing. So they hand me the mic, and I go, and I snag it from them, not let them hold it. And I said, I'm not afraid to talk on the mic, and I'm from Michigan. Go Blue. And we're in the heart of Ohio, and it's a huge tattoo convention. The whole place, boo, boo. And this was my introduction to the whole crowd, and I didn't even mean to, dude. It just came out. And so yeah, the look at Johnson. My ears are still recovering. Yeah, they got loud and they got just angry at me.
Blurted it out for no reason.
So I don't have a ton of experience with Dayton, but Jill, that about summed it up right there. Was the whole crowd booing me?
That's hilarious, dude. It's like you all of a sudden got nerves triggered Tourette's.
Right. Well, you've heard my Dee's Lake story at my grandpa's funeral and all that. Yeah, so it that's a good way to put it. Yeah,
maybe there's something to that.
There could be. And Second story that I should not have said at the situation, I was at my kid's soccer practice. Now, Jax is 6, Maddox is 8, to give you kind of the lay of the land. I was talking with a couple of parents, one mom and specifically who's like the manager of the team, and then one of the coaches who has a beard, who actually uses your products and is a great guy. And he came over and they were like, hey, we have a game scheduled on Mother's Day. I want to get roses for the moms, and we can hand it out to each mom to say like Happy Mother's Day. And we're like, awesome. And they were like, ooh, if we have one for Father's Day, we could do something. And I go, yeah, I'll happily donate some beard products so we can get some beard products for all the dads. And they go, awesome. And the coach or the mom goes, what if the dad doesn't have a beard? And there's like
one
6 and 8-year-olds all around, and the coaches around, and the parents that I don't know that well. I'm not this when I'm at soccer. I'm quiet. I'm reserved. I just sit. I like to be a little bit intimidating, so I just kind of sit quietly. And I go, and the mom goes, yeah, what if they don't have beards? And I said, well, then they have 2 moms. They all turned and looked at me mortified, dude. I didn't mean to. It just came out. Like, I literally don't talk like that. I don't even say that. And it just came out at soccer practice in front of everybody. And you guys, there's like 60 kids there, and they all have parents. There's like 5 coaches. Yeah, I dropped it completely, proudly, and loudly.
Amazing. That's like Nick Oberman and that meme with him. He's like, I have a beard because I am not a woman nor a child.
So true. So yeah, that was my interesting weekend of saying things I probably shouldn't have in those settings.
Amazing. I support both of them, by the way.
Thank you. And Nick, I did tell them that I do think you're a doctor of time and space, but I won't let people outside of that know. But I guess the cat's out of the bag now. But you had, I mean, and I told them about our stuff. Like, it was something. Oh, the sand.
I didn't even tell you the most recent one.
Okay, hit me. Because
I didn't even tell you, and I meant to tell you guys last week.
Do it. What we got?
Okay, so we just skipped right past intros. Okay, so hold on. This is good though. We're just gonna jump right into it. So check.
We got a bunch of tangents, guys.
This was the weird, dude. This is just literally like, it's almost like we're gonna see a new squirrel and chase it like every 5 minutes on this stream today. So like, buckle up. We're gonna be all over the place. Sorry, I'm a little scattered today, and it's a very exciting week for a lot of reasons.
And those of you that don't handle that well, buckle up. This is on purpose.
That's right. That's right. So there's, okay. I meant to go into this last week after I got back from New York, getting more tattoo work. So when I was in Manhattan, right, the tattoo shop that I go to, First Class Tattoos there, it's like Lower East Village, Chinatown kind of border of like Lower Manhattan. And so there's like bodegas everywhere, and, like random little stores, and like a million little, it's like one side. If you go one side on the street, it's just like straight dumpling and dim sum restaurants because it's Chinatown. And then you go over to the right, and it's all like Lower East Village, like fancy restaurants. It's pretty hilarious. So anyway, next door to my tattoo shop, there's a little bodega. And I happen to know that they sell individual cans of Modelo, which is very important because, I don't want to buy a 6-pack while I'm there, but I kind of like to have a beer after a tattoo. It's kind of one of those things for me. So I was planning on walking next door and doing that. They're wrapping up, cleaning up. We're doing photos, doing the portfolio, doing the whole thing. And then they're getting ready. I know I'm going to probably, he's getting ready to leave because it's 9:00 at night. I got to check out with their manager and all that stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to put my hoodie on for a minute. I'm going to run next door. I got to go get, like a Pacifico or Modelo or something before I, take off. And she's like, okay, so I start getting ready, and they're bringing in their signs, and then I get my photo taken real quick. And so the manager and another tattoo artist are out front. They bring in a bench from the sidewalk every night, and they bring in this little, whatever you call those little, teepee signs, the A-frame signs, for the sidewalk that has like an arrow, And so she and I tell the whole story, by the way, before all this, about how I can drink his Mexican beer because I don't eat sugar and blah, 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 right? We kind of go into that, just chit-chatting. So I'm not kidding you one little bit. Like, this is a verifiable story. You can randomly call them and ask. The girl comes in and she's like, Nick? And I was like, what? And she's like, this is the weirdest thing ever. She's like, I was just outside like 4 minutes ago, we just talked about you going next door and why you only drink Mexican beer. And I just found this ice cold on the front stairs of the tattoo shop outside.
What?
And it was a single can of Tecate from next door on the front doorstep of the tattoo shop. No one in the tattoo shop had left between me talking about this and this happening. They only went right out front in the window where I could see him, and then back inside. And she walked in like, Nick? And she's like, I walked outside. It wasn't there. You talked about needing to go grab a Mexican beer next door. I walked back outside and almost trip over this full can that's not open sitting on the front steps. And she's like, is this like your little sphere of requirement that just happens? Like, what is all that? And like, what that's weird. And I'm like, and Mikhail looks over at me. He's like, it's not the first time this happens. This guy does that.
Well, like, what is it? Like, who did it?
I don't know. Like maybe someone had gone over next door and they bought like a 6-pack and they sat down on the steps for a minute, like opening up their bag, getting something, and accidentally left it there and walked off with the rest. I don't know. Like it's completely it was ice cold, like condensate, like it just came out of the fridge next door.
And it keeps happening, you guys. This was
monthly. Like it's just
I think Saturday night. I don't remember what night we were talking about this, but I didn't even tell you fully on this one. So I am talking with someone. They asked about a product and when it'll be in stock. So I'm getting ready to text Nick to ask about it so I can relay them the information. And you guys, this is like 8:30 at night. The kids are asleep. We're on the couch. Sam and I are enjoying ourselves, just being silly, maybe a couple laughs here and there. And I'm getting ready to text him about this. And I'm telling Sam's like, what's going on? And so I tell her, and we're both like, man, I wish there was a different name for this product. And we're just kind of brainstorming and talking about like a different name for the product and a description. And I text Nick like, hey, do you know when this will be back in stock? He goes, I've been struggling with this for like a month. I need a new name for this product. Me and Sam both were like, what the hell? And then it was something that same thing we always do, literally. And again, guys, this is like 8:30 at night on a Saturday. It's not like we were sitting down to work. It's not like it was even like work time. I didn't even talk to Nick in probably a day, and we're sitting down just Friday. A Friday night. Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
We were watching one of the Harry Potter like spin-off movies, and so we're just enjoying ourselves, and we go through this whole thing, and then the same exact thing, you guys. We started with a problem. Both sides were frustrated with something. We came together.
Super annoyed. I was annoyed that it wasn't even annoyed that you asked. I was annoyed that I was thinking about it again.
Right. And that it like forcefully like came up for both of us, which was a weird thing. And Nick had an idea. I had an idea. We were farther apart. He said something. I said something. Then he piggybacked. Then I piggybacked. And then bam, it was way better than we could have ever imagined.
Yep. It literally worked out like it always does, where we end up solving the problem that we set out to solve. And then also doing something that's beneficial in a way that we hadn't even really thought of. It was like, not only do we figure out the existing product problem, we think we figured out a new product along the way. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it literally happens every time. It was hilarious that both of us were, again, thinking about it though.
And you think about like other teams and corporations and companies, they schedule like 7 meetings every week for this time to brainstorm and do this. We were watching Harry Potter and figuring it out with Nick on the phone while I was sitting with Sam.
Oh, and so Dan and I intentionally don't schedule meetings very often to talk about things, because there's very few times that like one of us will think about something long enough without bringing it up that it would require a scheduled meeting to talk about it.
Yeah.
So it's like, and Dan and I both, our heads are in different places each day, right? So like my head might not be in the place it needs to be to solve a problem one day, and neither would Dan. So like, why would we book a meeting a week ahead of time for a day that we have no idea what we're going to be thinking about that day?
Right.
We might want to wait until we get to that day and be like, ooh, I'm actually thinking about this today. Hey, is today a good day for you to talk about blah, blah, blah? And he'd be like, oh, yeah, let's do it.
And for whatever reason, it always is.
Yeah. And it works. It always ends up working. Whenever I get on the page to work on something, you're usually on that same page.
It's so weird. So dang weird. And
it works really well, though. I'll take it.
Yeah, like I'd reached out about something. I'm like, hey, can you help me learn this? And he was like, oh, yeah, I was actually just diving in. I'm like, of course you were. Yes, you were.
Speaking about learning stuff.
Yeah.
We got, okay, so I'm just going to hit him with a quick little like word vomit list real fast here. Yep. We got stuff to talk about, guys. This is an exciting week. So we have, first of all, the reason the wall is green today, it's because the charts are green. And Bitcoin just hit a new all-time high this morning. It kissed it last night. And then New York Open happened this morning, and Wall Street was like, give me that. and then went and took it. So I think we got up to like what 69.2 or something like that, with the old high of being 69,000 back in 2021, 22. And so that's pretty exciting. Bitcoin's going crazy. And look at that. It hit the all-time high right up there at like 69.2, like kissed it. And now everyone, of course, in the whole world is just shorting it. And we're gonna see what happens there. But it's gonna find some support, and it's probably gonna go nuts. And we'll talk about that in a bit. I do a lot of trading. I do a lot of technical analysis. I'm happy to field questions about why it's doing what it's doing and why the price is moving where it is and where it might go. I don't know.
And look at that. Look at the 1 year chart on there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's nuts. You know what, and there's a really good reason for it. I mean, there's a lot of really good technical reasons why this is happening, but but then we have good music stuff to talk about, some new metal that's a lot of fun, and some new stuff that I've been listening to, like wearing out my Spotify, listening to the same stuff over and over again the past week. And then we have more music topics about a first time experience for Jill this past weekend with some friends. So that'll be pretty fun to talk about. I had a catastrophic hardware failure yesterday that cost me a whole bunch of hours, pushed the project back, and almost lost like 10 years or so worth of data because of a SATA controller / hard drive failure issue. But good data protection practices, I think, saved my butt. And we will know later today for sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm good. It just cost me a lot of time and probably a couple of mild heart palpitations. And then we have travel plans coming up. I'm going all over the damn East Coast later this week. And so I'll be down in North Carolina. I'll be in Tennessee. I'll be in Georgia. And then I'm flying back home next week. I'm going to be doing the show remote next week. So we got tons of travel plans coming up. We got exciting stuff happening down in shipping and receiving. We got a bunch of new stuff coming in there that I'm going to fill you guys in on. And those of you with kids, I think will get a kick out of this. My son, who is 11, his name is Jack. He's a smart dude. He just got we just got him fully enrolled into a really cool program at MIT this summer, where he gets to be on campus at MIT working with some 3D animation stuff and some 3D printing and robotics. And so 11-year-old dude, put that on your middle school resume going into school, right? It's going to be pretty cool. He's going into 6th grade next year. Perfect little ramp up time for him. So yeah, man, Bitcoin, music, computer problems, travel plans, exciting stuff in the shop, and talking about MIT with kids and the cool stuff they do there. And maybe, who knows, if some of you are in New England, maybe you didn't know about these MIT programs, and
right,
you look into them.
Right. So we're gonna get those guys. First, let's hit our topic today, so we can knock that one out, and we can always circle back if we have more time. I just have heard a lot of people talking about their beard goals, and especially their beard gains, like what they've done to get to those goals. So I want to go over it real quick. We have beards, blades, and hair in the chat. And if you guys could drop a comment in the chat, what are your current beard goals, and or have you had any gains recently that you've been really happy with? Whether it was a styling change, a trim, maybe your testosterone levels went up, maybe you are eating better, exercising, whatever the case may be. Any gains, we want to give you a place to be able to share those, because it's not usually the easiest to be like, yeah, listen, Facebook, my aunts and uncles out there, I had this amazing beard accomplishment, so that's a little tougher crowd, but today is perfect for this. And BBH says, my goal is to definitely improve my tangles. So yeah, I can absolutely respect that and understand that.
That's like, I find, people with really curly beards. Sometimes, it's crazy. It's like people with really curly beards get tangles, but I've also heard a lot about people with like extremely straight beard hair get lots of tangles too, because I guess they're more prone to split ends if it's really straight, right?
Yeah, it's usually thinner, and it's kind of like the ribbon of a balloon, right?
Right.
You think about that tension. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes total sense. But I think, I don't know about you, man, but I think, the biggest thing for me for tangles is my conditioner. Number one.
It's everything.
But what really helped is getting one of those. We might want to look in at getting them. It's like those little tiny, thin, short, bristled little palm-shaped brushes, and they're called like conditioner brushes. And so like the tines are really flexible. Like you can take your fingers past them, and they like,
Yep.
But you kind of you put the conditioner in, and then you run these brushes through your beard in the shower. And I've had really good luck with that, relieving a lot of tangle problems because I feel like that separates the hairs with the conditioner in it. It has like a detangling effect. And then, yeah.
Now,
I also noticed my beard gets more tangled if I put beard oil in after I let it dry too much. Like if I put it in a little tiny bit damp, that's like that keeps it detangled. But if I let it dry all the way out without any oil in it, that's when I start getting like serious tangles.
Oh, that's like damaged tangles for me. Like
that's like bad tangles.
Like let's say I get out of the shower, I get distracted because the kids like did something. I'm running over there, and then it's like I got to re-wet the beard because that's huge. So for me, it's drinking enough water, using conditioner every other day, and beyond that, using heat consistently is a massive, massive game changer for tangles. And just being as kind of healthy and smart as you possibly can be. All those things really help out. But yeah, those little ones you went over are huge.
Yeah. I mean, that always helps. Oh, yeah. Dennis does have some serious growth going on right now.
That's cool. I know he's a big user of Dr. Nick's. So
dude, he's got like he's going through like, I don't know. He's going through like, when once in a while, it's almost like you get a certain level of growth and it gets to a certain length and it grows real fast and then it slows down again. I think he's on one of those like super growth curves.
That's awesome. And Mark, I've actually seen this. He said, I started measuring my beard each month. Without it, I wouldn't have noticed the 1 inch my beard grew since January 1st.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's really cool.
I mean, that's an inch in 2 months.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it really is this case. And I think Mark actually mentioned it when he posted about this. The law of proportionality is real. Like an inch of growth for you, Nick, is not going to be as noticeable for someone that has shorter beards. It's just not. And the way you combat that is by measuring and or taking pictures. And then you can see.
Dude, it's like, it's so weird because I don't really notice until I see photos. Like, and we look back at like, there's a photo of Jill and I at a hockey game back in like 2019, I guess. Probably. No, I guess that would have been 2018. Yeah. And so it was one of our first dates actually. So it definitely was 2018. And so we, it was like, I was shocked. I was like, holy crap, like 6 years worth of growth. I mean, it was like here.
Yeah. It's insane when you look back and you see, because you go back to that time and you think back then, like, wow, I have a huge beard.
Yeah. Like I remember people telling me I had a sweet beard like back then. And I'm like, man, I barely even had a beard back then. But it's like, since the competition, what was that? November?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I was 22, I think, at the competition. I think is what I weighed, is what I measured in at. And I'm just about at 24 now. I'm at like 23 and a half, I guess.
Wow. Yeah, you're hitting that next level.
Yeah, I'm hitting the next category, which is the last category of usually 24 and up. There's usually not a 24 to 36 and 36 and up. It's usually just fine, 2 feet, fine. You got a 2 foot beard. You get the same beard as the 3 foot beard guy.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. And I do love going back. Some of my favorite pictures are ones like this, where it's like the before and then the current. And like, I'll take this away here. Like that, again, if someone were to describe the man on the left, that would be a bearded man with a full beard. Like that's an amazing style beard, but you see the growth where that's there. And then where you're at now too. Whew.
Dude, it's a big difference.
It is. It really is.
I had so many icicles in my beard that day when I took that photo. I think I got my Rilo on my helmet there. I'm like ready to roll. But that thing, I was like full on icicle beard later that day. It was awesome.
That's awesome. So awesome. Now, Ken has a mustache. I saw him on Saturday, so I can confirm he does have a mustache now. And Ken, I will say, you do not strike me as a whaler. Now that I've absolutely met you and get to know you, and we know your fun personality, I don't think you're a whaler, man. You got to keep the stash.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I think I gotta see it. You gotta send an updated photo because I think I've only seen your profile picture without a mustache, right? Is this your first time growing a mustache?
I think he's come and gone. And
okay.
I'll pull one up here.
I mean, the whaler's a strong look, but it had, like you said, I think the most important part about it is it's got to match your personality for sure. I mean, it's a strong look though.
Agreed. And here's our man Ken right there.
Dude, I mean, looking good, dude.
Oh yeah, I know. I told him, I was like, you didn't have to be all jacked and thick on me, man. I didn't know that was coming in like that. Like,
Yeah,
geez, dude.
right. Like you brought your bouncer. It's like you brought your body with you, dude.
Right. And so yeah, he goes, but my face is just so cute.
There's
Well
always
played.
that. And yeah, he's got the banana pants, Joe. Look at that. Of course he's got the banana pants.
Yep, I had a little pre-show zinger on him yesterday. They were talking before Command's Corner, and somebody was like, "Ooh, I wonder if he's got a banana hammock under the banana shorts." And he goes, "There's nothing under the shorts." Or he said, "Under the shorts, there's nothing." I gave him the classic. That's what she said.
Yeah.
So lame, so corny, but it was
You
well
gotta
done.
take it when the opportunity arises.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to go for it.
You got to. It's important.
PB says his goal is to let the sides catch up to the goatee. Yeah, we see that often.
Okay, yeah, because are you gonna go longer when that happens? So you're gonna let the sides catch up with the goatee and then let the whole thing grow out, or are you just gonna keep it like that?
Yeah, that's a good
You know,
question.
because I think a lot of people, when they want to go from a goatee to a beard, when their goatee gets long, they trim the sides. You know, you have to kind of let one catch up a little bit, and then they all start to kind of go at once. You know,
Yep. That would be my guess too.
unless you decided to do some really fun, like unless you decided to have fun with like some muttons on the way to a beard, right? That's when you know, start growing out the sides, keep the goatee trimmed. Bam.
That's a statement.
Mutton goat.
And he says absolutely want it long, so he's going for it.
He's going for it. Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to do it, man. You let the sides catch up. I used to trim my sides too until I, you know, realized I was doing it wrong for what I wanted. And so, you know, it was I moved from kind of the trimmed look as well, and then started letting this grow. And I didn't know in which order to do it back in 2014. So
yeah,
I've been there. It's a confusing time.
Yep. And Jason is right. There were a couple of nice whalers at the competition, the beards, and it was actually a father-son combo, which was really cool. And they did look good, but it suited them. Like Ken's got to have the mustache. That would suit him.
Mm-hmm. And
Shane,
that avatar you have, did you make that for yourself? I think you said you did, right?
Because did, cool. Yep.
Yeah,
it is awesome. Nice. That is nice. I like the colors too. And Shane said, just growing since my last trim several months ago. Still can't sort out what mustache wants for me. Yeah, the mustache is wild. Mine is,
dude.
Mine's giving me a hard time right now too. And so my goal, and actually kind of making a video about this, is I want my beard to be more consistent. This is a ridiculous request, but it is my goal. My beard to be more consistent with my styling all year round. Meaning I'll go weeks or months with like a certain challenge that'll work itself out. And then a new challenge comes up, and then a new challenge comes up. And it's like always different, always changing. It probably forever will be. But if I could get it more consistent, I would be a mentally happier guy with my beard.
Yeah, you know, that was me like honestly, dude, that was me like last year. I was like, why are my connectors being weird? Why can't I get them to do what they're doing now?
Right.
You know, and like that was my biggest damn thing. If you would have asked me what a beard goal was a year ago, it would be to get my connectors trained to where they would follow the shape of my beard moving forward. I didn't want straight down from the back down here. I wanted it to have like that heel, you know, where it does it look, you know, that heel shape to the side.
Yep.
And like that was really, really hard to train, man. My hair didn't want to do it. I still need to kind of heat it like that, and you know, to get it to remember that's what it wants every day.
Yeah. Nope, I hear you. Robert wants to get to a healthy 10 inches. He's at 5 right now. Awesome.
Get it.
Yep. Awesome.
Get it, Robert.
And G Squared has had a massive improvement with beard knots, random split ends, by twisting his beard into a loose braid at night and making sure he really coats at the very tip at night. Okay.
Good point. So like when I put my beard in a bun at night, I make sure to put a little butter in first. And I started doing exactly that, dude. I started making sure that when I get it all through and I do the whole thing, I actually go to the ends and I'm like this. I'm like really getting it into like the ends of the beard, because like I feel like they get missed sometimes if you don't really focus on them.
Yeah.
And just having that little bit of extra stuff, because when you put it in a bun, you know, you're not really twisting much until it gets to like the end. You know, you do one of these, and then to get it to like go in the back, you know, you kind of got to go like this a little bit, right? And then, you know, you put it through and do the whole thing. But then it's like you know, it ends up staying really well, but the ends end up sticking out. You know what I mean? Like these guys on the end, when you get it through, unless you kind of like tuck them in, like this part sticks out and it will
Right.
get dry, you know? So it's like you kind of gotta, you know, you gotta be careful with the way you do the ends.
And they're the oldest. You know, those are the oldest parts of your beard. So
Right. And
that
so you want to be
and
gentle with them. Like you don't want to like
yeah.
tie them too tight or do anything crazy with them, you know?
Yep, absolutely. And BBH says the magic of pictures and videos revealing what the mirror doesn't. Well said. He said he was on a work call yesterday and was floored with how big his beard is getting. That's
Dude,
awesome.
yeah. You know, and that's yeah, and feedback's another one too. Whenever you see someone that you haven't seen in like 6 months and they're like, dude, your beard
Right.
got long, you know, that's always like a good little bit of feedback too.
Yes, because you see it so slowly every day, you know? So
You
yeah,
do.
that's huge. And John says, I'm blown away after looking at my pictures from when I first discovered your channel to now, which is about 8 months. And I've started using heat the past few weeks, and I can't believe I waited so long.
Dude,
Yep.
game changer.
Yep.
Like, yeah,
Yep.
huge game. Like I met a guy this weekend at the show we went to, and we were talking about beards and we were saying bye. I was like, all right, so never trimming again, right? And he's like, because he has, you know, a short beard, and he's like, I just trimmed it this morning. Um, but he says he has really curly hair, like his hair grows out in like an afro. And he's like, yeah, my beard just goes like this. It never goes down. And I'm like, well, one, there's some styles of beards you can't get unless your beard does that, but still, like, heat it and get it to
Yeah.
where you want and pull it down. He's like, heat it? What do you mean heat it? And so he had never heard of it.
Oh yeah, that's what's the beauty of this like niche, this market, this community is like the possibility. Yeah, girth gang.
Girth gang.
the
All right. New Dr. Nick's shirt idea.
yeah, that's yeah. Get it, write it down. That there's such a vast opportunity of education and experience out there, and like we think we have a pretty big community, which we do, and it's growing. But the possibility, oh my gosh, there's just so much lack of information out there for men and taking care of skin and hair. And it's so true, so true. So yeah,
ADB.
I'm excited. Which one you got, Nick?
Oh, so I'm not sure what ADB is all about.
Okay.
I don't know what ADB is. Elaborate.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. Oh, that was the comment before. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just watching. Oh, he was saying for his like typo.
Got
Shout
it.
out to Michael. How you doing, man? How you doing? All right, gave me a gem. The MC at Nationals gave me that gem, I think. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, the MC. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I could see that one. So awesome, guys. If you have more beard goals or gains you want to share, and please feel free to drop them in the chat at any time. Hey, Jason, what's up, man? Please feel free. We will likely have a little bit of time to circle back to that, but it's tangent time here. We've got some good ones, and I don't even know most of these stories, so I'm excited to hear myself. So, Nick, I'm gonna let you drive this train, and then I'll pop in where fitting. But I'm just excited to listen.
Oh man. Well, shoot. Where to begin?
Right.
I suppose, you know, a good one that's not going to go on too long of a tangent, most likely, which would probably be a good place to start. Would just be random new music, right? We talk about new music all the time. We talk about like new, you know, music releases and shows that are coming up and all that stuff. And a lot of the time people are like, what are you listening to this week? So last week into this week, pretty exciting. Last week, Knocked Loose, one of my favorite metal bands these days anyway, they're killing it. Just released a new single, which is going to be coming up on their new album. It's called Blinding Faith, and it's out now on Spotify. It's freaking awesome. It's like they're getting better and better, you know. And what I like about them, you can tell they're like still super excited about what they're doing. You know, it comes off that way. Like it's not like they're kind of like, you know, you can definitely tell they're not sick of it yet. You know, they're going strong. Definitely going to check them out next time they're in town for sure. I think they're coming, like, I forget when it is. It's sometime this summer. They're coming up to Massachusetts. I think they're about to be on tour now if they're not already, but that's really good. And then there was a collaboration that came out. Also, I think a single, or it might have like 4 songs. Maybe it's like an EP kind of a thing. But it's by Aborted and Despised Icon, which is called Death Cult. It's like it's killer on that album. It's really, really good. So between the two of those, yeah, Adored and Despised Icon, along with Knocked Loose, I've been like, they've just been on repeat. I get in the car and I like start with those and then let it kind of do all of its Spotify randomness afterwards. But those have been really, really, really good.
That's metal. Would that be the category?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. And I think one of them, you know, if overarching category metal, more specific genre of metal, I'd suppose you'd call it deathcore, which is, you know, definitely I would be down with seeing Dr. Dude, Dennis, let's do it. Like Jill and I are definitely going there in town. I was just looking at tickets the other day. I can't remember the date, but we should definitely make that work. That would be awesome. Not to mention, you know, we'll just stand there in the back looking like super tough with our arms crossed, big beards. You know, it'll be very fitting. Some good photos will come out of that one. You know what's funny about the singer too? It cracks me up. He on stage, he's always wearing like. Well, last time I saw him, he's like wearing like khakis and like a collared polo shirt.
That is wild.
It's like, oh, it's hilarious. Oh, seeing bands like Lorna Shore and Knocked Loose playing Lollapalooza is wild, dude. So that is what is happening. So I forget, one of you might know it, and I can probably look it up, but I was talking to Jill about it over the weekend. There was some pop artist that like tweeted about Knocked Loose, and she's like, this new track is like, I'm loving it today or something. And all of a sudden, like their Spotify listens went from like 5 million monthly a song to like 15, 20 million monthly per song. Like, and then all of a sudden they started getting on bills, right? And I don't know what it is. I think it's because, and you can probably, I don't know if this makes sense or not, but Lorna Shore, not so much, I guess, but Knocked Loose, they don't really have like the growling and like the ultra deep, like guttural stuff going on. So I think if there was going to be like a crossover metal band where like people that listen to mainstream music and they listen to pop music and they do like the sound of something heavier, it's a little less illegible and it's a little more, you know, it's a little more understandable. Less illegible. That's a double negative. You can't say that. So it would be, you know, it'd be more understandable, I think. So I think maybe it's still super duper heavy, but maybe it's a little more palatable, you know, for people who, you know, aren't metalheads that want to maybe listen to something heavy, or they think it's cool to like send Instagram photos from them at a metal show. So Lollapalooza is like, let's give all these, you know, people that listen to top 10 radio a way to look like they're at a metal show. I don't know.
Right.
But, hey, take it, right? Because that's getting metal out to the masses. That's getting metal bands more success. That's getting them more notoriety. It's getting them more listens, which turns into more revenue, which what does that do? It just makes more metal. And so whatever way we get more metal into more people's ear holes out in the world, the better. And so stuff like that, yeah, it blows my mind too, but I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, Demi Lovato.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're right. And so it's like, it's crazy though, where like you get some of these people who they are like the little linkages between the two worlds. It's like someone who makes music that people like, but they like stuff that the people that listen to them haven't heard of, right? And then so what do you get, right? You all of a sudden you get a bridge between two worlds where normally that wouldn't happen. So I think that's got to happen more and more. It'd be really cool.
Yeah, she wants to collab with them.
That'd be hilarious. And you know, the metal world would hate it, right? They'd be like, "Oh, sell out. We're just doing it for money." But it's like, you know what?
Have you heard her sing though?
No.
So Demi Lovato has some of the most golden pipes you would ever hear in your life. Like, it's such a bummer that she got pigeonholed into like a pop artist. Her pipes are explosive. Like, she is a powerful singer, like crazy powerful. She would kill it. I'm completely blanking right now. Oh my gosh, she's not full rock, but who is the rock female singer? Evanescence. What's her big name? She has some leanings towards her.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. I know exactly who you're talking about. It's not Evanescence, but it's yeah, Amy Lee.
Yep. And then there's another one too. Shoot, who's the female? She has had some pop hits, but she has some banger like rock hits.
Oh, is
Oh
it? Are
my
you talking about not Lizzie Hale? Because Amber Interden. That's who I was thinking of. Amber was Lizzie Hale. I can't think of it.
That's okay. We'll pop back. But yeah, that would be cool. I would be down for a collab. And like you said, anytime you can bring those worlds together,
do it.
Like I know people criticized it, but do you know how much money the NFL made off of the Taylor Swift publicity?
Dude,
Like,
and my whole thing, dude, is like people in the metal world, you know, they're so quick to call people sellouts. They're so quick to do all that. It's a very supportive community, but they're also very fickle, right? And what I think people need to understand is the music they listen to is very hard for the bands who make it to perpetuate, right? It is very hard to keep a metal band going because it's a limited audience, right? They need to be on tour. They need the Spotify listens. They need the YouTube revenue, right? But most importantly, you know, the more people they get exposed to, the better, right? Because that just means those people are going to be able to make a better living doing what you like them doing. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with doing certain revenue-based decisions, right? We all need to be a little coin operated to some extent.
Right. And that, yeah, don't get me started on that's a whole different tangent. If you want to see a company win, you should support them making money, blah, blah, blah. But I was thinking of Paramore and Haley Williams. Like I said, not like I know she's not some iconic rock singer, but I could absolutely see Demi Lovato kind of going with that style of rock. And she is a powerful singer. Jill said she can sing. She can bring it.
No, yeah, for sure. Like, yeah. Well, speaking of Jill and speaking of music, Jill had a first in the music world this weekend. Speaking of things that are out of our genre, and you know, things that are just like new experiences. We have some friends, really, really close friends of ours. They're like our best girlfriends in the whole world. They come over all the time. We do dinner with them all the time. It's our friends Sarah and Alyssa. And they're super into EDM. They like to go to lots of festivals. They like travel around, but it's funny. They'll travel around and go to like EDM festivals, but then at the same time hit like 4 Lorna Shore shows at the same time because they follow them around. So like they're, you know, Sarah's big metalhead, Alyssa's super into the EDM scene. So it's kind of like between the two of them, they kind of have, you know, it's a cool duality. They like a lot of cool stuff. And so they talked us so they talked us into going this weekend. And it was, you know, it was actually really, really cool. Hold on. I was gonna see. So it was at hold on here. So it was basically Jill she'd never been to an EDM show before. And she you know, she's never been to like a rave, right? Never been to any of those, but they're super into it. And we went this weekend and it was actually like it was a really good time. Like it was cool, like having you know, like I've been to a bunch of them, like back in the day, like Pretty Lights shows and like Bass Nectar and like all that stuff and all like the dubsteps of the world. And you know, and it was back in the day, it was fun, but it's a very different scene than it is like now. But what I noticed is there was actually like a really really good mix of like it was almost kind of like a metal show in some ways, right? Like it was like there was people headbanging and there's people like, you know, doing, you know, like what you'd see at a metal show, but you know, it's a really cool community on top of it. And it just, I don't know. Oh, sorry. It was at the MGM. I was going to say the band. It's at the MGM in Boston. The group, the DJ Subtronics. And so it was like really cool visual stuff on the screen in the back. Lots of like, they had pyrotechnics indoors in Boston, which was pretty rare. They had like these big pyro cannons going off and stuff. But it was like, it was a really cool community of people. Like definitely you had different groups. Like there was people dressed up like they're going to a festival in nothing but like, you know, bikinis and fishnet stuff. And then there was people dressed up like they were going to dinner in Boston wearing like collared shirts and, you know, slacks. And then there was people dressed up like you'd see them at a metal show. And so it was like, you literally had like 8 or 9 different like kind of genres of people on top of like this, having kind of a different genre of music for us. But Jill had a good time and it was cool. Like for some friends to take us to like something they really enjoy doing, like giving us a glimpse into like their world. And like we've done with so many friends of ours with the metal scene, you know, And it was enjoyable, even if it wasn't our type of music that we're going to listen to in our car by ourselves or have playing in the living room when we're home cleaning, right? It's just having your friends that you really, really like be so excited to show you something they really, really like. It was kind of contagious, like you had a good time because the people you were there with were just having a good time.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
It was quite the vibe. It was. I mean, it's like everyone's super friendly. It was so funny too because we were standing there and people would keep coming up and like saying something about my beard and then like high five and then giving me a big hug and like holding your shoulder, saying hi for a minute and then taking off. And like Alyssa or Sarah looks over at Jill at one point and she's like, does Nick know all these people? This is like the fifth person that he's like hugged and like had handshakes with. And Jill's like, no, that's just what Nick does when he's at concerts. That's just how this works.
Yeah. It's just a welcoming vibe. So man, yeah, I've never been to one, but if you and Jill were like, hey guys, you're in town, in a heartbeat, I would go this afternoon. Like immediately I would go.
Dude, yeah, I heard they have crazy lights at EDM shows. Dude, Zach, yes, they have like I saw the guys at the front of house board, and they have like the sound and light control boards there. And they had like 4 dudes standing behind like the light board doing crazy stuff with like the pyrotechnic sequencing and the light sequencing. And then you have the display board, and then you have house lights. So it's like you have the stage lights and lasers, you have the stage screen, you have the front of house lights, and then you have all the pyro. So like just visual effects. I would say there was far more visual effects people there at the front of house booth than there was sound engineers.
Wow.
And it is a cool venue. I mean, MGM is neat. It's a really big, it's the MGM in Boston. And it's like, they have a really big, GA floor area. And then they have a really huge, like a big balcony, like a mezzanine. That's also really, really cool.
Now it's like almost like an EDM concert is like balancing your senses more so than any other kind of concert for the most part.
Kind of is,
yeah,
like it's very audible, but it's very visual, and at the same time, it's like, the interaction with the crowd is part of like the whole experience itself. Like that's a whole element of it.
There's like another sense that is activated that you can't like describe, is what it seems like.
Yeah, it's the Captain Planet sense, right? It's when all of them come together, and then like boom, Captain Planet comes out. Yeah, it's that one.
Yeah, exactly. So cool. All right, that was fun. Glad you guys got to go,
dude. It's super cool. I don't know what's next. Travel plans. We'll hit that real quick, and then I got to talk about something that you guys have kids. You might get a really kick out of this, and maybe you don't even know that these programs exist. And if you're in the New England area, maybe you'd want to look into them or something. That's some really neat stuff. But hit the travel stuff really quick. I'm taking off Thursday, I'm coming back next Thursday. I'm taking off Saturday, shooting down to Charlotte, North Carolina. And then I'm going to drive from there over to my mom's in Knoxville, Tennessee that day. And I'm there for a few days. I'm going to do the live stream from my mom's house in Knoxville. And then I'm going to take off. I'm going to like shut off the live stream. I'm going to close my laptop and I'm going to hug my mom and my stepdad. And I'm going to take off, jump in the car and shoot down to Atlanta for dinner meetings there that night after the live stream. Then I have meetings all day on Wednesday with some really cool guys from Austria that are working on a cool piece of cybersecurity technology that I'm involved in. So we're kind of meeting in person for the first time down there to take over a conference room and collaborate, which is insanely fun with these Austrian dudes. It's basically like hanging out with the bad guys from Die Hard, except they're really smart and talking about, saving the world instead of taking it over. It's pretty cool. And then I'm taking off right after those meetings on next Wednesday. I'm going to be driving back to Charlotte to fly home, but I'm going to, it's funny. One of my guys that I work with, he's a partner of mine. I was like, hey man, you live near Charlotte. I'm flying home out of there Thursday. I was going to be staying in town Wednesday. Let's meet up for dinner. And he's like, that's not how it works down here in North Carolina, man. He's like, I'm not going to have you stay in a hotel and meet you at a restaurant. He's like, why don't you come over? You can stay in our guest room at our house where, my wife and I will cook a good dinner. We'll have some wine. You can hang out with me and my wife and my kids. And you can have a good home cooked meal and we'll send you on your way Thursday morning. He's like, forget all that hotel eating out crap. Come get comfortable, take your shoes off and have a home cooked dinner. So he invited me over and was kind enough to offer me a place to stay with some friends. And so I'm doing that and then shooting back home next Thursday on the 14th. So kind of like a whole little go down south, do a little loop, and then shoot back up. I'm basically doing a lowercase b of the map.
That's awesome. It all sounds great.
Dude, it's going to be fun. Or
Yeah.
a quarter note, maybe because I'm kind of going this way, then going down. Yeah.
My brain can't handle that.
I don't know. So that's a lot of fun. But before we run out of time, because I know this is one that's going to be an interesting one for some people, is I got my son, Jack, Jill and I got him signed up. He's all ready to roll for in August this summer. We got him booked for a week on campus at MIT. They have these age range kind of, 9 to 11, 11 to 13, 13 to 16 kind of ranges. And they break them up in really small groups of like 10 or 12 kids. It's all the whole week. And he basically gets to go 8 hours a day on campus for a whole week at MIT in Boston or in Cambridge, studying. He's going to be working with the 3D application. It's called Blender, which he already plays with a little bit, but it's basically like the industry standard 3D modeling application. You kind of have like Blender, you have Maya, and you have like 3D Studio Max from Sony. And those are kind of like the three that like every big animation and movie studio in the world uses for like modeling their 3D components to these animated movies. And so this one basically focuses on that. And then it focuses on programming that 3D model into a 3D printer so that you can actually turn your virtual 3D models into physical objects. And then we're going to get them set up at home with a 3D printer so we can kind of like continue the education. But it's just talk about a cool way to like get into and so it's like, and I think it's through the group that runs it is like ID Tech or something like that. You can look up MIT kids summer programs, and the one he's doing next year probably is talk about for a 12-year-old. They have them doing artificial intelligence and machine learning geared Python coding. And what they do is you literally learn how to program a machine learning logic behind an arcade game. And you can then play the arcade game against your AI opponent. And you then train your AI model based on how you play the game. And then you try to basically beat the model that's programmed on yourself, basically. So it's like he'll be doing that next year. So, he's going to be going into 7th grade with like 2 different summers worth of MIT programs under his belt with, animation, 3D modeling, 3D printing, and coding with machine learning and artificial intelligence with video games. So, it's just the stuff that they're doing with these kids down there is awesome. And they immerse them right in the middle of the campus. Like you drop them off in the morning and they go into a lab. Like it's right there on the main MIT lab campus. And they get to see everything else going on in the school. They eat lunch in the main campus cafeteria, so it's like everyone that's there around just some of the smartest people in the world just kind of doing their thing, being the geniuses that they are down there. So we're pumped. It should be super cool.
That's going to be unreal. And I've had the chance to meet this young gentleman, and it just seems to fit him and the way his brain works and how like proactive and go-getter he is. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. I told Nick I could see this being like a transformational type week. Like I've seen it with Maddox with a soccer experience. It like changed him in the best way possible. I could see that with Jack. Not saying that with anybody change needs to happen. It's just when you line up their passions with opportunities, there's just a really cool chance for something special.
It is. And Christy's got a good point there. Blender is open source, which is awesome. And that's why it's so freaking cool, is because like that's the one that's like it's the most complicated, but it's also the most versatile. And that's the one like he downloaded and started playing with. He tried to model out his iPhone on Blender, watching YouTube videos. And I walked in and I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I downloaded this program called Blender. I'm trying to like recreate my phone into a texture for my Roblox game. And I was like, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
You like that? He's like, oh my God, it's so cool. And I'm like, all right, check.
Yeah. Got it. That's super cool. And he did that on his own?
Yeah, he did it on
No
his own.
way.
He found it, downloaded, watched a YouTube video, figured part of it out, came to show me about it, and he already had like a big chunk of it done. He's like, I'm trying to learn how to ungroup these two things though, but every time I ungroup them, they turn into these big blobs.
That's
And
so cool.
I was like, aha, you need classes.
So cool.
Let's do this. I doubt sixth grade in Marshfield's going to be teaching you Blender. So let's just go ahead and augment that real quick for you.
Dude, yes. That's another tangent I'm not going to get into. The opportunities not afforded to your kids in situations where you think they should be and could be, school, sports, all these things, and then how powerful it is to advocate for your own kids. I think it's everything. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have to. I mean, was I talking to you about it? Where like Rockefeller, when were you talking about that a couple weeks ago? Rockefeller's famous speech where he's like, I don't need a country of thinkers. I need a country of employees.
Exactly.
I mean, it's so true. And it just like you look at curriculum and you're like, oh God, you're just trying so hard to turn these kids into little worker robots.
Yeah.
It's only you got to break them out of it.
Man, yeah, I have a master's degree in curriculum development, and when you see what goes into the sausage, it's kind of gross sometimes.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it really is.
You don't want to see inside the sausage factory.
You know? No, nope. But I think the last one, unless we missed it, I'm brain fart right now, is some developments in the shop, maybe a merch room.
Yeah, we have. I just got a delivery notification a little bit ago here from A Dewey Pile. They are out on the road with.
That's real.
That's a real name, and like when they first and I've always wondered to myself, like, okay, like was there ever like, okay, you're in that conference room, right? And they're like, all right, we've narrowed it down to 4 names, and.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Like number 1, A Dewey Pile. Stop the list. List stops right there. That's the one. We're going with that one.
And then somebody's like, wait, to be clear, a Dewey pile? I'm like, yes.
And it's not a pile of Dewey.
No.
It's a Dewey pile. But so like what I guess gets me is it's someone's name, right? So like you got like A is like an initial, and then his name is Dewey Pile. Right? So like you couldn't make fun of it because the guy that started the company, like that was his name, So if like you made fun of it, you got fired. I haven't even ever looked it up, and I can see you right now looking it up and taking all my fun away because now we're going to learn what it stands for. And I'd rather just imagine that it was some poor unfortunate person's name. And
I don't want to know. I don't want to know the story. I just want to enjoy the graphic of it.
Pile people deliver.
It's a Dewey pile, and I'm imagining some have read this as a Dookie pile, and that's even more worse. Like,
I mean, I don't really know where to go with this one. So let's just continue the story where it was supposed to go. Yes, one of these trucks is dropping off about 600 pounds worth of stuff here today, and it's going to be completely renovating the inside of our shipping and receiving room. So we're going to be moving all product, all inventory, all merch, all liquids, all shower products, everything out of production to a dedicated shelving, whole huge bunch of shelving. So we got like multiple 96-inch spans of shelves, and then we got some 72-inch spans of shelves that are coming in. And the whole inside of that room is going to be lined with shelving and some really, big, clear bins to be able to store, hoodies, hats, shirts, merch, etc. And then we're going to have some really cool areas for, the trays and stuff for all the shower products and oils. So we're really ramping up, the organization, the inventory, and the way that we do order picking and shipping and receiving is really going to improve. I mean, label printing is all going to be in there, packing slip printing, all of our packing materials are on those shelves. And in the middle of the room is going to be a nice, big, long 12-foot table that I'm actually right downstairs. I'm using the CNC machine to carve the Dr. Nick's logo into and putting some black epoxy in it. So that should it'll be looking really good in there. It'll be some cool stuff to be able to show off on a tour and some others, but they're on the way right now. And I was thinking they were probably going to be like buzzing the 80 decibel buzzer on our front door like any minute while I'm doing the live stream here, but it has not happened yet. Knock on desk. So
dang, that would have been cool though.
It would have been.
We got a pile of Dewey out there. All right,
we got a big old pile of Dewey in the driveway.
Big old pile of Dewey.
Big old pile of Dewey.
All right, did you cross off the list, Nick?
I mean, there it is. And I mean, yeah, hardware failure. You know what? I'm not even going to dwell on it because I'm having a really good day now today.
Let's
So I'm
go.
not going to focus on the terrible hardware failure of yesterday. To answer B Cause's question, though, already had a raid. It was the controller that died, corrupted one of the disks in the raid. And then, unfortunately, with the backups the way they were going, probably have 1 day of replicated corruption. So, it was like when the thing you're protecting fails and then breaks the thing that protects it, and then breaks your only mode of recovering it. But thankfully, I kind of had a third option that I've discovered, so I think I'm okay. But it's like little nerve wracking yesterday. But
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it, but
we're
in a
back.
better place.
We're back.
Boom. Woo, guys, that's what this show is all about here. Thank you. Like we both beforehand were like, this is gonna be good. This is for us just as much as it is for you guys. And I had a good time.
Dude, this was a great one. I feel like my head was spinning today before this live stream. And then thankfully, hopefully I didn't make your head spin and make mine relax because I wasn't trying to trade places with you here. But maybe this was just if anything made you go, wow, I'm glad all of that wasn't in my head today. So I don't know, hey, misery loves company. I shared my world with you guys. You shared yours with us, and here we are. Hopefully we all feel better at the end of it.
Absolutely. Next week, guys, we will be live, same time, same place, kind of. Nick is going to be at a remote location, but we'll still be here. He's been there before, so you might see a familiar background in I'm guessing that's like the dining room area with that nice little backdrop.
With the little nook behind me,
I like that.
in the window. Oh yeah, it's good.
I like that. So shout out to Julie for being a good host for the live stream location. And other than that, next week, guys, we're going to talk about the mail carrier service and experiences, but it might not be exactly what you're thinking. So you're going to have to tune in next week to think about what angle we're going to go with on that topic. And we will for sure dedicate some good amount of time to talking about the mail carrier service. So tune in then. Nick, final words for our favorite people out there.
If you have a family member who is a postal inspector,
He's
or
here.
a otherwise USPS employee,
Dewey's here.
He's here.
We did it again, you guys. We just talked about it 2 minutes ago.
He literally, according to Jill, just pulled in the driveway after I talked about. Been waiting for him. No phone call as requested, I might add. And nope, no nothing. He's just here. So I'm gonna go do that.
Okay. You guys,
I hear Jill running right now to the front door. This is no joke.
My gosh. All right, we're out of here for real. We'll see you next week, you guys. Tuesday.